Good evening and happy game day, everyone. Comes a little earlier this week, but the Boise State football team is back on the blue, and tonight they host the San Diego State Aztecs. I will tell you this, fall has arrived here in Boise. It is windy, it is cold, but we could not be more happy to be here. And so the student section might say the same. You can hear them from across the way. But welcome live down to the blue. Jay Tuss alongside Brady Frederick. Excited for this matchup as Boise State continues to march towards a potential bid to the college football playoff.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta love it, Jay. It's getting colder, it's getting windier. You can really feel it. And we're gonna see a battle between two of the best ball carriers in the Mountain West. So if both teams are leaning on the ground game, they're gonna be ready to go. More on that a little bit more specifically later on in the show. For now, I mean, you take a look at San Diego State, maybe not so impressive with their 3-4 into the first year under head coach Sean Lewis, but undefeated in Mountain West play, which is kind of all that matters right now.
Hey, if you can make it to November and still be undefeated in conference, that's saying something. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape of today's matchup. Boise State clearly has the better record in this matchup, 6-1 on the season. Meanwhile, San Diego State just 3-4. Boise State, a far superior team on offense this season, while San Diego State, it's kind of been a struggle, a little inconsistent on the offensive side of the ball. The defensive matchup, pretty similar. Both these teams giving up about the same amount of points per game and the same amount of defensive yards per game allowed, for that matter. And on that note, should be a good matchup tonight.
Yeah, and it's also worth bringing up the last time San Diego State came up here to the blue in Boise back in 2022. It was Dirk Cutter's first game as the interim offensive coordinator. The Broncos also had to figure out what to do with a new man at quarterback after Hank Bachmeier entered the transfer portal. After trailing 13-0 at halftime, the Talon Green-led Boise State Broncos surged ahead with 35 unanswered points to go on to win the game. It was also the first career rushing touchdown for Ashton Genty. Head coach Spencer Danielson, who was the defensive coordinator back then, remembers the game just a little bit differently.
And we know we're going to get their best. They're undefeated in Mountain West play. At this point, that's all we look at. They're undefeated, they're coming to the blue, and I do put a premium on the fact the last time we played the Aztecs, they beat us on the blue. That cannot happen. I mean, that we put an absolute premium on protecting the blue, protecting our home, and we got to make sure that doesn't happen.
So maybe he remembers it just a little bit differently than how we all remember. Not everybody can have that perfect photographic memory when it comes to game notes like our guy Tom Scott has.
Right.
But of course, maybe he was thinking of that 2018 19-13 loss here on the blue, and maybe that one stung so much that he's still thinking about it.
Hey, I think that's the moral of the story here. Anytime you lose on the blue, it hangs with you for a long time. But I'll tell you this, Spencer Danielson hasn't had to experience a whole lot of losses ever since he became the interim head coach turned head coach of the Boise State football team. He has this team absolutely rolling right now. And before we move along, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention it was about a year ago at this time where it seemed like the 2023 season really fell apart. It was almost a year ago that Boise State went down to Fresno State, lost in somewhat heartbreaking fashion, and it wasn't long after that that then head coach Andy Avalos was fired and Spencer Danielson was put in charge of the program. Earlier this week, I asked him what the difference is, and it's really funny because many of the players are the same. Pretty much the entire assistant coaching staff is the same. The one big difference is really the guy that stands behind the podium on Monday at the press conferences, although Spencer Danielson, once again, wasn't willing to admit that.